Just got back from my Thursday night Weiss locals. Ended up getting top 4 with danmachi this time. Played red-blue danmachi. My matchups were round 1. I played against... What did I play against round 1? I played against the Quince Nino deck. Round 2, I won that match. Round 2, I played against Kobayashi. I won that match. Round 3, I lost to Beaufry. And round 4, I played against Star Wars. I won that match. We play a English-Japanese mixed format at our local. We get about 10 to 14 people pretty consistently. We had about 11 players tonight. So it was like 4 rounds, top 4. But this is the deck list. 4 copies. Story Begins Here, Bell and Hestia. 2 copies of Past Sins Ryu. 2 copies of Exploring the Dungeon Lily. 2 copies of Part-Time Job on the Side Hestia. 2 copies of Human Activity Hestia. 2 copies of Sleeping Goddess Hestia. 2 copies of Victory Feast Fiona. 4 copies of First Adventure Bell. 2 copies of Turf Ward Wealth. 4 copies of Pinkyochi. 4 copies of Hestia Knife. 4 copies of Firebolt. 4 copies of Proof of Trust Hestia. 1 copy of Goddess Hestia. 1 copy of Supporter Lily. 1 copy of Little Rookie Bell. 1 copy of Magic Stone. And for the main climaxes, we got 4 copies of I Shall Make You a Wish. I Shall Make You a Win. And Unyielding Fieldings. So for those that you don't know, your main 1 combo is this climax with this 1-drop. This 1-drop is very strong on the offense. It works similar to the old Goblin Slayer. So non-climax combo, this card on attack gains 1,500 times the number of firebolts in your grave. So pretty solid already. With the climax, you can add back Hestia Knife to your hand, which is basically a backup and an on-play event that lets you look up the top 4 cards of your deck and add any character, essentially, to your hand. So, really strong. This can get very beefy. It can deal with... It can get... I think max you can get up to... With Climax, 3, 6, 10, 5, 11, 5. With Climax. So, it can actually deal with a lot of heavy standby deck matchups, too. So, this is always going to be beefy and run over. The cool part about this deck is that even if they do run over the spell, which they will, you have so many resource cards in your deck that you can constantly get at least 2 to 3 of these on board every turn. And if you're careful, if you can manage your climaxes correctly, you should actually be able to have this 1 combo climax for your 1 and your level 2 as well. So for your level 2, you still want to focus on your 1 combo. And when you hit 3, that's when you want to start dropping your Proof of Hestia combo. This combo is cool. It's a stock heal. So you can pay 2, pitch a card in hand, heal, and put it to stock. With the Climax combo, you, on attack, give any character on your board, doesn't have to be herself, +1 soul, and the ability of, if the soul of their damage gets canceled, you can burn for 2. So really solid Climax combo. Probably just like the best generic one for this deck, essentially. For like some tech options, we play 1 copy of Goddess Hestia. This lets you ramp out 1 of your 3 drops for free. And it allows you to shuffle both graveyards back into the deck. Which, the reason why that's important is for Magic Stone. Magic Stone is a 2-1 event that stock swaps your opponent. But this isn't like a normal stock swap. This stock swap shuffles their current stock into the deck. So if your opponent has a lot of climaxes in grave already, this card isn't like too viable. But in combination with this, you can basically do a forced... If they have a lot of stock, you can do a forced refresh with this. And then play this. and you'll probably have a good chance of hitting a couple climaxes depending how much stock is in your opponent's, how many cards are in their stock, essentially. This card is really solid. On play, you can bounce a character. Also, when it doesn't lose, you can side attack this without penalty. So it's always going to hit for at least 2. It also has a really cool ability that works with this specific yellow. You can pay 2, pitch this specific yellow. And this character plus another character on your board this turn also gets the ability of, if your opponent cancels their damage, you ping for 1. So in the late game, you actually want to try, you can either field 3 of these on your board, or you can go 2 and 1. Basically shove all the effects onto one guy. And let's say you attack and the last hit gets canceled. You can go 2-2-1 or 1-2-2. You can distribute the burn damage how you want, because that's how it's ruled in this game, which is pretty interesting. We do have, in my opinion, the only real techable card in this deck. I feel most of the cards in this deck are necessary. The only card that I feel is a flex spot in this deck is probably this one. It's an early play heal. And it also has, well, you have more than when you have 4 or more characters on board. And it also has a soft ability where when it attacks, you can put this knife underneath it as a marker and gains 15 attack. This is mostly just an early play heal. This deck lacks like kind of mid game, like to pull out cards out of your stock sometimes, because your main back row guys are going to be these 2. This is a brainstorm search, but with the added effect of when you activate it, you can pitch 1, draw it 1. So just solid. This card is really good. So all your Pignochis have a cost of 1, but while he's on board, they all have -1 cost. So you can basically play this card for free. So this salvages a guy from grave and gives a guy on your board 4K. Then his second effect is like a soft brainstorm effect. So you can pay 1, tap it, and the number of Pignochis in your grave plus 1. You can look at the top card of your deck, and then add any 1 or higher to your hand. It can be any 1 or higher. It can be an event, can be a character, it can be anything. So these are the main 2 you always want in your back row. So your early game ideal board is having these 2 in the back row, and you're swinging with these. The rest of your zeros are actually mostly utility cards. We're maxing out on this 0 specifically to have red in our clock, because most of the red in our deck we actually do not want in our clock. So it has just a solid reverse effect. Check top 3, add 1. So it has a decent effect as well. So this is why we maximize on this copy. We try to focus on 2 ofs for the most part for other utility reasons. This one is really good against standby decks, because most standby decks will res their guys in the back row. So you can summon this, target a back row guy, and they can't move it up for a turn. This also helps you dig for an event. This one lets you pay 1, add any top 3 cards to your deck. Really solid. Also another pay 1 ability to pitch an event to add an event. So this effect definitely comes up in weird scenarios. This is also a card where it comes up in weird scenarios where you can fix your clock. Let's say you clock something important or you need a specific color. You mostly want red on your 1. And when you get the 3, your 2 doesn't really matter what your color is, but when you get the 3, you need both your yellow and your blue. So this can help fix your clock stock, and it's a climax swap, which is also just really good for this deck. This is the main piece for this combo, but it has a decent effect. On play, your opponent has to guess a number. If you mill it, you draw that many cards. So you have a little bit of a draw factor. And during your opponent's draw phase, you can mill the top card. If it's 1 or higher, you just bounce it back to your hand. So it can be a soft attack runner as well. This card lets you pay 1, mill the top, clock the top card of your deck, so heavy cost, but you get to salvage any character from your grave. And it has a side added effect. You can look at the top 2, put 1 back, and then mill the other card. So this can help set up, help dump climaxes in grave, so you don't get them stuck in your stock. I do like this deck. It was fun to play something different. Glad I got top 4 with it. Might be playing this deck in the future. If you guys have any likes or comments, feel free, or any questions, please sure to ask me. I do plan to play more decks in the different decks in the future. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, or just subscribe in general. It helps me out. But that's really it for now. So I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you guys next time.